Hello, Dawgpound South campers. This is the Cleveland Browns Dawgpound South podcast. I am your host, Steve Gill. I am, of course, part of the Fanatical Elves Network, which is part of the Fans First Sports Network. We are on the cusp of free agency. And of course, Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, decided to get things started a little early yesterday. I hope you have watched and listened to our quick podcast we had yesterday in the Fanatical Elves Network with John, myself, and Lou. Just a quick reaction, but now that it dwells on this Jerry Jeudy trade, it's looking a little bit more. It's looking better every hour. I'll put it to you that way. So first, today's show, I'm going to put forth my wish list. It's Christmas. I'm sitting on Andrew Berry's knee, and I'm whispering in his ear what I would like. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about the Jeudy trade. Jerry Jeudy went to Alabama because he admired Amari Cooper. Now he gets a chance to play with Amari Cooper. Jerry Jeudy was sixth in the league in yards after the catch. Wide receivers with 80 or more catches. Sixth in the league. The Browns were 20th in the league, yard after the catch. So that's an improvement. He's going to be 25, I believe, in April. He's on his last year of his rookie contract. It's his fifth-year option, roughly about $13 million. I fully expect Andrew Berry to restructure that because, let's face facts, he, Amari Cooper, and Elijah Moore all become free agents in 2025. So we're going to have to get a little creative. And I do expect them to redo Amari Cooper's deal for the benefit of the team. And, of course, Nick Chubb. And I expect a little more restructures. So right now, the Browns are at $5 million. Do not, under the cap, do not worry about that. Don't concentrate on cap space at this time. It is a fluid situation with every team. So they will restructure Jerry Jeudy. He's young. He's an up-and-comer. It's a low compensation, high ceiling type trade. A fifth and a sixth. If you look at the draft charts, and there's vast value charts, it's basically the number 73 pick is basically what the Browns traded. So a third-round pick. I know they gave away a fifth and a sixth. What was it? It was 135 and 202. Again, great use of day three picks by Andrew Berry. So that trade's done. I think the wide receiver group is done. You've already got 7 guys. They usually carry 6. You've got a little bit of everything in there. Elijah Moore, who's got great separation. David Bell, who can sit in the slot. You've got Cedric Tillman, who's taken over DPJ's job. And you've got, if you want to keep Jalen Darden, he's your return guy. So I think wide receiver is done. Will they draft one? It's possible. It's always possible. And there's still Michael Woods, who sat out all last year with an injury. So it's possible they could draft one. I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant to think they're going to. The other big trade that might affect the Browns, the Patriots traded their starting quarterback to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. Mac Jones, a 6th-round pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. First of all, you got to wonder what the Jacksonville Jaguars are thinking about. Here's what they are. They saw what happened to the Cleveland Browns. I think you're going to see more emphasis on number 2 quarterbacks in the league this year. They saw what the Browns went to, starting 4 different quarterbacks. And luckily, the Browns picked the right ones at the right time and still won 11 games. So I think the emphasis on backup quarterbacking in this league is going to be very, very strong. It's a copycat league. Once something bad happens and somebody proves they can go through it and still have success, everybody wants to copy it. So that leaves New England without a starter. You got to know that they're going to draft one, but they need a bridge quarterback. So they have Alex Van Pelt as their offensive coordinator. So you've got to immediately think that they're going to offer Joe Flacco the starting gig. He has already said he'd like to play for 2 or 3 more years, and he'd prefer to start. You're going to hear all the local guys say, but his family loves Cleveland, and they could sway him to stay. I think that's very possible. Or do the New England Patriots go after Jacoby Brissett as a bridge quarterback? Wasn't that successful in Washington? But Washington's a whole different animal than New England is. It's still possible Flacco could sign with the Browns, but he wants to start. He's a highly competitive person. Anybody who's competitive, I'm maximum competitive. I want to be the best at what I do. So today, free agent wish list. I am going to go position and say what I want. All right, number 1, quarterback. I'd love to have Joe Flacco back. He'd probably cost about $2 million. Maybe they can get it less in salary, more in incentives. I'm sure there's going to be incentives as to backup or start. Like I've said, his family really loves Cleveland. They love how the city embraced them and him, and he recognizes the fact that how the city embraced it. But if you're not going to get Flacco, then I'm perfectly happy with Jeff Driscoll. I know. We only saw a small sampling size, and it was terrible showing against the Bengals starters in the last game. But the Browns, they knew they weren't going to win that game. That was more like a preseason game at the end of the season. So if they don't get Flacco, you get Driscoll. This creates 2 different scenarios. If you get Flacco, you're going to have to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster when you get down to your 53. Yes, I'm thinking all the way towards the 53-man roster who's going to travel to Brazil and start game 1. If you keep Driscoll, you can go 2 quarterbacks on the final 53, stash Driscoll on the practice squad, and that leaves the door open for an additional player. Last year, they kept 2, and probably the player that would have been cut more than likely would have been Ronnie Hickman. I think that worked out pretty well, not having 3 quarterbacks and keeping Ronnie Hickman. That's just me, but I love the kid. He played way, way above his draft status, which was an undrafted rookie free agent. Okay, running back. This is going to get interesting. This is something Browns fans are going to have to pay attention to when free agency kicks into gear Monday at noon Eastern, 11 my time. A lot of Browns fans want DeAndre Swift. I kind of like that. I'm thinking more along of, he's like a $5 million running back. And if Nick Chubb isn't going to be ready until, say, November, late October, November, if he starts the season on the PUP list or he starts the season on the injured reserve, you got to have a good back. DeAndre Swift is the type of back you could use. You could even keep when Chubb comes back. That's a great 1-2 punch. That's almost as good as Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. It's possible. But if Nick is going to be back sooner, how about Devin Singletary? Houston. He used to play for Buffalo. He knows Ken Dorsey's offense. Be a nice little ad, and he'd only go about $3 million. So you're saving a little money. But my first preference would be DeAndre Swift, as everybody. but I would not be surprised if they go after Devin Singletary. I think he'd be a great backup. Wide receiver, I think they're done. Go ahead and draft one. Get one. If somebody's there you like, grab them at 54. If somebody's there you like, grab them 85 if they trade 54. Draft is for depth and future starters. So I think they're going to draft. I think they're done at wide receiver. I'm good with Jerry Jeudy. Way good. Tight end. Are they going to keep Akins as their number 2 or not? Are they going to re-sign Harrison Bryant? I think we should move on from Harrison Bryant. Here's what I hope they do. This is my wish list. Mike Gesicki. Sign him. Make him your number 2. Draft your third string tight end. This is a very good draft for tight ends all the way up and down the board. You can get a very good tight end on day 3. There are plenty of them. That would be who I want. All right. Tackle. I am all for getting rid of James Hudson, but he's still on a rookie contract. Got to think business. So they keep him and they draft somebody. Hopefully, I'm thinking if the tackle, and this is a great tackle draft. Don't get me wrong. This is a fantastic tackle draft. It isn't top heavy like the one when Jedrick Wills was drafted. This is a solid tackle draft. So if the tackle you want is at 54, you draft him to replace Wills next year. That would be my plan. So draft pick 54, a good tackle at 54. All right, guard. I want Michael Dunn back. If you bring Michael Dunn back, he can play both guard positions. He can also play emergency center. He was your 4th center that year. We started losing centers. So let's go with Michael Dunn. If he gets signed, and Michael Dunn would be like $1 million, maybe $1.5 million. That's affordable. And if he gets away, Isaiah Wynn of Miami would be veteran minimum, because you're already going to have you have your 2 tackles. I mean your 2 guards, Teller and Bitonio. Dawson is still on the roster, so you bring in another guard. I'm hoping it's going to be Michael Dunn, but if not, my choice would be Isaiah Wynn out of Miami. All right, center. Everybody thinks we're fine. We got Posick, we got Whippler. Do you want to re-sign Nick Harris? I'm hearing, and this is weird. This is very strange. This caught me off guard. I'm hearing they want to go with more power at center, and I don't quite understand that. I mean, Posick was playing a top 5. So if they do, this is a guy I like for a while. Corey Levin, you can get him for a veteran minimum. Bring him in. Whippler can play center and guard, so you've got a backup there. So sign him. Don't be surprised if they, sign a center. So we'll move over to the defense, which it needs a lot of attention. And a lot of speculation and a lot of rumor that are going on right now out there in the social media universe. But let's take a quick break first. All right. The point of emphasis for this team in free agency has to be defensive tackle. And there's a lot of variables and a lot of situations can make this a fluid situation. So when Christian Wilkins was not franchise tagged, boom, everybody thought he was going to be franchise tagged. I thought he would be franchise tagged. And then I thought, well, the Browns are going to go heavy after him. Then all of a sudden, we start seeing these contracts. David Mulligetta of Baltimore gets this huge contract. Chris Jones, probably the best defensive tackle on the market, re-signs with Kansas City, making the highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL currently. So that kind of turned all Browns fans off to Christian Wilkins. Now, first of all, the money you see on social media is what the agents are reporting. I'll wait till Wednesday when the contracts start coming in. Wednesday at 4 o'clock when the league year starts. I'm sure these contracts are a lot higher per year than they actually are, because the agents, they're trying to drum up business. Hey, look what I got for Chris Jones. I can do the same thing for you. You know, it's a little bit of a shell game. So I'll wait and see. Now, Mary Kay Cabot came out the other day and said they can sign both Christian Wilkins and Zadarius Smith. I'd love that. I'd give Andrew Berry free tax work for 10 years if he pulled that off. But I just can't see it. So you're going to have to pick. Who do you want? Now, Josh Sweat is become available from the Eagles. I just don't see it. I can't see the Browns picking up his $16 million a year contract. I just can't. I know he's younger than Zadarius Smith and he has more upside, but what I think's I'd love for them to sign Christian Wilkins. I just don't see it. I would prefer that they'd sign Zadarius Smith. You're going to get him for about 10, 12 million. And then go out and get a defensive tackle, somebody like somebody like Daquan Jones. You can get Daquan Jones for about $5 million. Then you have your choice between Shelby Harris and Mo Hurst. I'd love for them to sign both. I mean, you could get Harris for both of them for $1 to $2 million each. Now, if they don't, are they unable to re-sign Zadarius Smith? I could see him going after somebody like Marcus Davenport, the Vikings. He would only cost about $5 million, and that way you can put your money elsewhere. You might be able to get a DJ Reader along with him. Reader is like 10, 11 million, and then you get Marquise Davenport for the other defensive end. That works too. That's a great defensive line. DJ Reader, Tomlinson, Myles Garrett, and Marcus Davenport. I'd take that any day of the week. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with defense. I would love Christian Wilkins, but I got a feeling they're going to want to do Zadarius Smith, because Myles had a great season. Smith, although everybody complains about his sack numbers, he was still disruptive, and he set the edge in the run game. He had a lot of pressures. He had a lot of quarterback hits, top 10 in both categories. They are more important than sacks. All right, linebacker. All right, got to re-sign Taki. You've already got Tony Fields and Mumad Diabete, who are weak side linebackers, the Sam linebackers. And you got JOK. JOK deserves a contract extension. And the money involved in that is going to make this a top-heavy room, like the wide receiver room with Amari Cooper at $20 million. So his contract, probably $9-10 million a year, probably a 3-year deal. Andrew Berry usually only spends about $7.5 million on the entire position group. So the big debate between this is, so you give JOK as an extension, you sign Taki, who can play middle and weak side linebacker. He doesn't, weak side's a little less. He plays very good middle. So then the debate is, do you bring back Anthony Walker on a veteran minimum, or do you go out and get somebody else? You know, I love Anthony Walker. I have a feeling that's what they're going to do. Personally, I'd go after somebody like Zach Cunningham. You can get him for about $1-2 million. He's a little older than Anthony Walker, but he hadn't had the injuries the last 2 years. And then your number 6 linebacker is going to be Matthew Adams. Got to bring him back. He led the team in special teams tackles. He was a great signing, and he's a middle linebacker. So that would be who I'd want at middle linebacker. I'm all for Zach Cunningham, maybe Denzel Perryman. But I have a feeling they're going to bring Anthony Walker back. Nothing against Anthony Walker. He's a great player. He just can't stay on the field. So now we move to the secondary. Cornerback. What are they going to do with Greg Newsome? Greg Newsome, like I've said on many shows, his fifth-year option due the first part of May. He's going to be due like $12 million. You drafted Cameron Mitchell to eventually replace Greg Newsome in the slot. He's on a rookie salary. So what can you get for Greg Newsome? Well, it depends. If they trade him, it depends on the team. I'm thinking second and maybe a conditional late round pick, maybe a high third. It depends on who's wanting him. But if you do get rid of him, you're going to have to draft a corner, obviously, and you're going to have to get somebody like a bridge cornerback to play while that other corner comes up. So I'm thinking Sean Murphy Bunting. You can get him probably $2-3 million. Sign him for a couple years. That gives a draft pick time to acclimate to the NFL. If you keep Newsome, I don't see him doing anything. They might draft a corner late, but I really don't see it. Andrew Berry has more success in secondary guys and undrafted rookie free agents, DeAnthony Bell, Ronnie Hickman. So, he could wait till the draft is over and sign one of those players. All right, safety. Do you bring Rodney McLeod back? He's a Jim Schwartz favorite. You're basically at safety, you're looking for a number 3 safety. Jim Schwartz likes to play a 3 safety set, and he likes them to be intelligent and know what's going on. So they probably will want to re-sign Rodney McLeod. If they don't, I am all for Adrian Amos. I thought it in my opinion, last year when signing a safety after Juan Thornhill, I wanted either McLeod or Amos. So Amos is available. He knows Jim Schwartz through Tennessee when he played in the Titans 2 years ago. I think he would he's just like McLeod. He can play any strong free safety. He can even cover. So it's either McLeod or Amos. I'd go with Amos. Special teams, you got to re-sign Corey Bojorquez. You have to. He's a great punter. He got better and better. Don't look at the playoff game. He was coming off injury. I think they rushed him off injury. But he is a weapon. All right. So that's my wish list. That's what I want. It's not a lot of money. Andrew Berry will clear cap space as he goes, as long as he's at the 255 on 4:00 Eastern on Wednesday. He's fine. I guarantee you he's going to be way under it, probably by about 20 million or more underneath that cap space. They know what they're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if he may trade for defensive help. He's got till noon Eastern tomorrow to do that. What you want to do is he's already proven that in the past with Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Za'Darius Smith, and now Jerry Jeudy. If he sees something he likes, he trades for it. He did it before the last cut, the 53-man cut last year before the season opened. He went and got a kicker that worked. He knew if Hopkins hit the open market, he'd have to compete for him. So he just went ahead and pulled the trigger on a trade. That's a good thing about Andrew Berry. All right, so that's excuse me. That's what I'm proposing. That's what I would like to see. It's not a lot of big fancy moves. It's solid starters. Defensive line, the most important right now. That is the way to watch. And then second, running back. And then third, backup quarterback. Because apparently backup quarterback is just as important as number one running back right now in the NFL, judging from the trade from New England to Jacksonville. So I hope you enjoyed the show. If there's any breaking news, I will be back, of course. I'll probably do a recap tomorrow after we get done with our little free agent frenzy. Just remember, day one is for big money. Day two is fool's gold. That's the day that teams panic and overpay for players. And day three and beyond is value. That's when you go back to the clearance shop and start picking up all that depth, just like Andrew Berry did last year. So, everyone, enjoy your day, enjoy free agency, and everybody, go Browns.